So on this breaking news front, guys, we're going to take you here to New York City, actually. The death penalty has now been taken off the table for Luigi Mangione, who is the defendant accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This morning, the judge granting the defense's request to dismiss 2 of the 4 charges against Mangione, including the murder charge that would have made him eligible for the death penalty. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Compagno, and joining us today, Carly Shimkus, Fox & Friends first co-host, Lydia Hu, Fox Business correspondent, Rosanna Scotto, Fox 5 New York anchor and host of The Underground Economy on Fox Nation, and Griff Jenkins, you heard me mention him earlier, co-host of Fox & Friends Weekend. Now, Mangione, the defendant I mentioned, initially faced 2 federal stalking charges, which the prosecution used as the crime of violence hook to charge him with murder through use of a firearm. Now, that is what made him eligible for the death penalty. But the judge ruled that stalking was not a crime of violence as defined by the Supreme Court. Meaning now, with the murder charge and the other firearms charge dismissed, the death penalty is no longer on the table. The judge explaining her reasoning, writing this, quote, "The analysis contained in the balance of this opinion may strike the average person, and indeed many lawyers and judges, as tortured and strange. And the result may seem contrary to our intuitions about the criminal law. But," she writes, "it represents the court's committed effort to faithfully apply the dictates of the Supreme Court to the charges in this case. The law must be," she writes, "the court's only concern." Now, I happen to be one of those attorneys and also an average individual that was shocked by this. Having seen the stalking in both sides, from both sides, both as an attorney and as someone who has had restraining orders, I found the concept that this is nonviolent to be shocking. And I have full faith, however, in the interlocutory appeal process, which I'm pretty confident that prosecution will pursue here, which means they're going to wind its way up to the courts and say, you know what? We're not accepting this as final say, Judge, and we're going to pause these proceedings while we actually figure out a definitive answer. And complicating this, or perhaps on the prosecution side, is that other district, there's precedents here outside of the country where stalking has been ruled violence for exact purposes of this, just not here in this district. So, Griff, your thoughts writ large on what happened today in the courts with Luigi Mangione.
Well, first of all, it's perhaps more shocking than the fact that you're going to have Indy 500 cars racing down Pennsylvania Avenue. And more shocking than we're headed for a government shutdown, that Luigi Mangione is not going to be facing a capital punishment charge. But as you so eloquently laid out, it appears that this is quickly becoming a pretty nuanced legal case. And the judge's ruling that perhaps in the prosecutor's filing of getting to, remember, there's 4 charges, and now there's going to still be 2 charges of stalking for which he will face life imprisonment as a possible penalty. But the fact that they needed to get to the capital charge through showing that violence through the use of a gun and a weapon needed to be predicated on an act of violence, and that stalking, she's saying, is not an act of violence per se.
Now, obviously, this defendant is still facing state charges, Rosanna, and I sort of speak to the fact that if there's any type of confusion about this, then obviously judges look to notes and things surrounding legislature of like, okay, what was the intent here? Here she's talking about specific precedents with the courts. So I put it incumbent upon legislators to say, you know what? Why don't you make it real clear? Why don't you make it real clear that stalking actually is a crime of violence once and for all, so this kind of stuff doesn't get muddled? Because at the end of the day, a CEO, a father, and a husband lost his life.
Absolutely. And for those of us who've been the subject of a stalker, you always think there is criminal intent behind that. So this is quite shocking. But you know what's interesting also about this case, Emily, is that the feds and the state are fighting over who gets it first. And I guess they think it's a slam dunk. Both of them think they're ready. The state wants to go first. They said they're ready by July to start a trial, which everything is now on pause, right? But they said they were ready to go by July. The defense said that's a pipe dream, a fantasy. There's no way anybody's going to be ready by July. The feds have always said they were ready to start a case against Luigi Mangione starting in September. So let's see what this does. It's going to put a pause on everything as they fight the way up the court system.
Carly, you guys have covered extensively the cult fandom surrounding this individual. will they see this as some type of victory?
Yeah, and I absolutely want to talk about that. But first, I do want to mention that this is an incredible win for Luigi Mangione, and just in a series of legal victories for him. If you think about what he was initially facing, on the state side, it was life in prison without the possibility of parole. But because the terrorism charge was dropped, that drops down to a minimum of 15 years. And on the federal side, what just happened was the death penalty gets knocked down to life in prison. So still serious penalties, but not nearly what he once was facing. And I am certain he is very happy today because of this result. And you cannot forget the brazen nature of this crime, where an innocent man was walking down the street at 6:45 in the morning, gets shot in the back by a masked gunman for allegedly the crime of working at a healthcare company. And then you have all of these people, in a strange twist, to your point, Emily, who are celebrating this alleged gunman. So I have often thought that it would be really helpful for somebody on Brian Thompson's side, a family member or loved one, to speak to him as a father, as a husband, as a son. But you can't blame them for not coming forward, because there are this mob of people cheering this alleged killer on, not because they believe he is innocent, but because they believe he did commit murder.
It is justified in so many people's minds, including one I overheard at a salon here, which was horrifying, the Upper East Side. Also, I have to acknowledge this, that the motion was denied, however, so a point for the prosecution in terms of the contents of the defendant's backpack. And remember, they were sort of arguing that it was an illegal, unconstitutional search. Well, their argument there fell flat, and the judge did retain, so that as these sort of lesser charges proceed, it is with the contents of the backpack, which includes a pistol.
Yeah, really important there, because that backpack was seized, of course, as a search incident to arrest. You know, when the police found him in the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, he was there with his backpack. And the argument there on behalf of the prosecutors is that, of course, they would have to seize his backpack, search it to make sure that he is not armed, posing a threat to them. So it makes complete sense that that evidence is now going to be admissible at trial.
All right, guys, so much more to come. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.